Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at CPA Academy. Very excited. The Lady CPA has brought you another awesome session today. Candice will be your presenter. Clarice is also here. I'll be handing it over in just one moment. Before we do, we're going to do a few housekeeping items. Make sure everything's working for you. Make sure audio is coming through. Make sure you know how to ask questions, make comments during the session. We'll let you know about your handout, and of course, we'll let you know about your CPE. So let's get started. You mind drawing your attention to the GoToWebinar control panel. Many people are already typing in, letting me know where they are joining us from. If you haven't already, please say hello. If you do have questions, please ask them in the question pane. If there's time, there'll be some Q&A during this session, and we'll also be sending Clarice and Candice all your questions a little later today. There is a handout available for this course. We put that in your account at cpaacademy.org. It's also available in the handouts pane of the GoToWebinar control panel, so please feel free to download and follow along. This is a 1-hour course eligible for 1 CPE. In order to get that credit, you need to do 2 things: attend this full session and answer the polling questions. Those polls are going to be launched periodically. You just need to select the radio button that best fits your answer, submit, and you're good to go. We'll do our best to get your credit processed a little later today. You should see it in your account by tomorrow. We also be recording the session, so if you want to review, share with a colleague, we'll send you that archived recording link a little later today. So let me check with our audience. Hello, audience. We have New York. We've got Eric in Vegas, Neil in Indiana. We've got North Carolina, South Carolina, San Diego, Georgia, Minnesota, perfect. Portland, thank you so much. Looks like things are working well, and that's my cue to step aside. So I'm going to hand it over to Clarice. Clarice, thank you so much for being here today. Our audience is ready, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Clarice Knight, and I am a Lady Ambassador with the Lady CPA Network. Just to tell you a little bit about our organization, the Lady CPA Network is a nonprofit organization aiding in the advancement of African American women in the accounting and finance profession. Our goal is to provide a network and platform for African American women in accounting and finance as a support system and a collaborative body of professionals to offer scholarships, mentorship, internships, entrepreneurial assistance, guidance, and opportunities for women who aspire to be in the profession, as well as educational support and continuing education to increase the visibility of African American women at the executive and partner level within the accounting and finance profession. That's just a little of all of the things we do. Tonight, we're super excited because we have Candice Kelly with us. Just to tell you a little bit about Candice, she began her 20-year-long marketing career interning with the Small Business Administration and eventually becoming a director of sales and marketing for several different Hilton, Marriott, and IHG branded hotels. Today, Candice is going to talk to us about marketing our CPA firms, and I'm going to hand it over to Candice.
All right, thank you, Clarice. And I thank you and the Lady CPA Network for having me here today, as well as I thank Nathan Folker with the CPA Academy for arranging this presentation. Again, my name is Candice Kelly, and I'm with Anzakita LLC. It's a marketing firm that I created in 2011. After, as Clarice said, working in the hotel industry in a marketing capacity for over a decade. I also am a dual entrepreneur, and I founded a business so that although this webinar is leaning toward financial services, I can share with you best demonstrated practices that any business or professional or service provider would be able to utilize. Okay, so to tell you just a little bit more about myself from a personal standpoint, so you can get the full context of my approach to marketing, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about Great Lakes Personal Care Services, which is the company that I co-founded with my aunt. It is a family business, and that's my aunt that I'm hugging right there. We formed Great Lakes Personal Services because her parents were aging, approaching their 90s. Her parents, well, my grandparents, and my father was experiencing some health-related issues, and my aunt and I, we both had this idea to have a service to help people who maybe didn't have family that lived in town, as I was not living in the same town as my father at the time. And so we founded this business, and as we scaled up, we eventually brought my mom on board, and that's who is standing next to my aunt. And she came on board as our accounting manager after retiring from a 30-year-long career as a tax auditor with the Internal Revenue Service. So that's my family, my pride and joy. And again, I have a litany of experiences with that organization too that I can interweave in stories again and share them with you. Now, marketing is a science. Although many people may think of marketing as a creative or having to have some type of creative talent and ability, I don't want you to think that you have to have that in order to be successful in marketing. In fact, that's only just a portion, just an element of marketing. It's much more of a science. It's very methodical and just very straightforward principles to implement strategies. But it's not rocket science. And that's why I'm showing you this slide here, because this is rocket science. This is a slide showing Taraj Henson, who depicted the late, great Katherine Johnson, who actually passed away this year. And she was a phenomenal mathematician and rocket scientist that helped America land a man on the moon. So marketing is not, it's a science, but it's not rocket science. So it's nowhere near as difficult or, but more interesting, I say, only because I'm partial to marketing. So I'd like to get an idea of who's in the room. If you could, Nathan, launch a poll question, because I want to find out more about your familiarity right now with marketing concepts.
Perfect. We're launching that poll. How do you currently rate your familiarity? And 1 being unfamiliar through 5 would be extremely familiar. So we'll leave that up for about a minute.
All right. I'm unable to see if, are you having some responses already to the poll?
Polls are in, and we'll give everybody about a few more seconds. We're actually already 95% voted, but majority of our audience, biggest vote getter right now, is right in the middle at 45%.
Okay, all right, awesome. That's great. So I'm sure some of you aren't giving yourself as much credit probably as you deserve. You're probably much more of an expert because you're already out there and working your business or planning your business or in the professional accounting services industry. But whether, again, you're unfamiliar with marketing concepts or you're very familiar, this webinar will have something for you. Whether you have your own business or planning to get started, again, I will be able to have something for you on how to market effectively. So let's move forward and talk about something other than science. Let's talk about food, much more fun, peas especially. And peas represents the 4 P's of marketing. It's just a reminder, something that we all say. So the 4 P's of marketing, very, very basic: product, price, placement, and promotion. Those are the fundamental elements from which all of our marketing strategies springboard off of, okay? The product is very straightforward. It's your product or service, in this case, tax services, accounting services, financial services that you're offering, or for other entrepreneurs or professionals, whatever your product or service may be. But more so than that, it's about defining your service in terms of differentiating it and how it is positioned in the marketplace. Again, defining it based on what type of problem your service solves, okay? There are many people who may need your service, but are they willing to pay for it? And that leads us into pricing. So not just about how much do you charge, but also about covering your expenses and making sure that you're making a profit so that you can be sustainable, all right? And when we talk about pricing and what consumers are willing to pay for, keep in mind that consumers are very interesting. We as consumers will pay for things that we don't have to pay for, that are free, like water. Water is free, but we will pay for that because maybe it is purified or it's bottled, so it brings value to us, like an added value because now it's portable, and so we pay for that. But then there are other things that we value but we don't want to pay for, like music. That's something we used to pay for. We would buy records, cassette tapes, or CDs, or download, and we would pay for it. But now, for some reason, we've decided we don't want to pay for it. It should be free. I don't know why we feel this way, because we love it, we value it. But that's just that just shows the dynamics of a product and service that people may need and that they may want, but are they willing to pay for it? And then also, are they able to pay for it? Is it affordable, or are they willing to pay, and do they have the ability again to pay for it? Also, placement and promotion, those are the other 4 P's of marketing. Placement meaning distribution, how is your service provided, and then promotion, how do you get the word out to everyone? So I'd like to look at the top 5 ranking tax franchise preparation, or tax preparation franchisees. The top ranked 5, just probably most popular and so forth. And we know about H&R Block because there's so many of them. It's probably the largest or the most saturated franchisee in this category. But I want to point out, before I move on, about Jackson Hewitt because of their placement strategy. They very strategically located their stores, if you will, inside of Walmart stores. And so that, as a distribution strategy, really allowed them to target a certain demographic and provide them with exposure outside of maybe advertising, because they can capitalize or capture walk-in traffic just from consumers patronizing another business, really. I put a screenshot actually for Happy Tax Services because of how I was intrigued how they really differentiated their service from the competitors. They're not as large in terms of maybe your H&R Block, but if you look here at their website, when they talk about who they are, it says specifically that they were founded out of a need for more secure and expert tax filing experience, and they only hire CPAs to provide the tax services, whereas maybe some of the other franchisees will hire professionals that don't necessarily have their CPAs to perform the tax services. So Happy Tax is trying to differentiate their services and maybe capitalize on a higher price for a higher, because they're providing a higher credentialed service maybe, or perceived service maybe, or maybe they are not so much targeting an affluent market, but a market that really values a more higher level of expertise, perhaps. Now, Siempre Tax Plus is another of the top 5 ranked franchise tax service providers. And we can see right up front, they have 2 languages that they're promoting here. Their tagline states, "Brighten your future by serving one of the fastest growing minorities in the US." And that just tells me that they are positioning themselves to embrace a certain demographic. Not that they're excluding others, but they definitely want to serve a niche market, and they're making that very clear. So same services perhaps, but different strategies regarding the 4 Ps. So the 4th P, promotion, entails a mix of elements in order to conduct just that, to build awareness for the product and service, to put it in front of consumers, to get it out there, make it well known. We know about advertising. A lot of times people will utilize promotion and advertising interchangeably, but advertising is just one mix of the 6 elements for promotions. So advertising could be, of course, broadcasts, television, radio, print, very traditional print, or digital advertising on the internet and so forth. And direct marketing is direct mail. When you receive a postcard in the mail, it could also be email. And the difference primarily is that advertising may be mass in form, whereas direct mailing is to a specific group or demographic base, much more targeted. It could be text messaging or mobile marketing, but in a very direct fashion. You have to sign up or subscribe to it. I'm going to loop back to personal selling, but just to hit on public relations, that really is an opportunity to promote your business or service um, in a way where you promote goodwill to your community. It may be volunteering or community activism. It may be political or non-political in nature. It may be a cause that you're supporting. It may be networking. So whether it's the Association of International CPAs or the National Association or the National Black Accountants Association or any organization, or maybe your church or PTA, if you are affiliated with a group of interest, whether it's trade or social, hobby, anything like that, if you become involved, then you are essentially extending your brand wherever you go, and bringing awareness to who you are and thus your company through, again, promoting goodwill or socializing and networking with others. Now, publicity is a form of it could be a form of advertising. It could be social media, the free kind. So that's free advertising, right? But although you can pay for social media, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But publicity is more of an event or something specific that brings awareness. It could be a buzz, you giving interviews or being available to media to give interviews. It could be you writing articles in order to, again, create promotion or draw attention to yourself during a contest. And then we have sales promotion, which is more about coming up with an incentive to convert your pipeline customers from the discoverable informational stage of the buying cycle to the transactional stages where they are making purchase related decisions or decisions toward purchasing your product or service. So a sales promotion, it could be a discount, or it could be maybe BOGO, buy one, get one, something like that, or maybe a value added package that comes along with it for a specific trial period, or some type of incentive to, again, have your consumer base produce an action toward purchasing or getting to a step closer to purchasing your service. So again, we talked about our advertising, and those are some traditional forms of advertising, but I wanted to loop back and talk about personal selling, because that is a very traditional method for promoting your business, and it involves in-person selling, person to person, one-on-one selling, or maybe in a trade show, a format like that. And the Big Four, they are really known for utilizing this type of deployment of personal selling, or this type of promotion. And it may not come in the terms of like a tangible salesperson, like a car salesman, where, you know, and that's no disrespect or anything to car salespeople or anything at all. It's just a different type of sales where it's more about nurturing a long-term relationship. So the salespeople, they may be account managers, for example, or account executives, and they may conduct maybe client lunches or entertainment, or maybe they're consultants. And again, the goal is more holistic and in terms of 360-degree building the relationship for a long period of time. So personal selling is, again, one of the promotional mix 6 elements. Strategies, marketing. There are so many different types of marketing strategies. There's so many that are coming on board each day. There's a new one. So I do have a few that I'm going to really talk about more in depth: your traditional brand content, search engine optimization, and social media marketing. I'll go into those, but because this webinar is only 1 hour, I cannot possibly cover the range. And again, it's discounting. It's just not just 13. It's like cause marketing is not on there, and others, but like, you know, affiliate marketing, that really speaks to you promoting your business on someone else's website maybe, and paying them, you know, to do that. So you're literally affiliating yourself or connecting yourself with another product or another service, or it could be in reverse. You affiliating yourself or allowing someone else to advertise or sell their product on your website and they pay you commission. So one of the examples that particularly comes to mind for accounting services is QuickBooks, and how you can host QuickBooks, their information on your site, or become an affiliate marketer for them and then receive commission. And there are many other products and services where you can think about maybe they're complementary or horizontal or vertical, where you can create some type of affiliation. So that's just one, but again, let's go ahead and move forward, and please raise your hand and line up some questions if you like as we move forward. I will break and again allow Nathan to let me know if there's some questions, but I do want to move forward and talk about some specific examples, because as a marketing consultant, I have clients in every different industry, whether, let's see, healthcare. I've had clients in education, nonprofits, as well as financial services. And these are some of the strategies that I use to answer some of the most frequently asked questions from my clients. So traditional marketing, that is anything that is not related to digital or the internet. So that's, which is very hard to do now. but believe it or not, traditional marketing is still very much in play. So again, when we looked at here, like all those mediums are traditional marketing methods for promoting your business. Okay. Anything that's not digital related. Brand marketing is focused on the identity of your company and who you are, the person behind the company as well. So however you present yourself and your messaging, brand marketing strategies ensure that it's consistent across all communication channels for promoting your business. And regarding content marketing allows you to create products or services that are not necessarily your core business, but are auxiliary services. Maybe they complement, they're kind of like an accessory to your business that actually expose you to a broader consumer base. Building an app that's creating a product, again, not exactly what you do, not necessarily, it could be, but not necessarily, but it may again help broaden your audience. You can do a podcast, maybe self-publish an ebook, or write an article and have that published, or even if it's on your social media, that's content too. Or it could be what I'm doing now, go-to meetings. I'm doing a seminar. I'm not in the seminar business. That's not what I do for a living. I am a marketer, but this seminar with go-to meetings has given me a broader consumer base to expose, again, my business and how I may be able to help you as potential consumers. So that's content marketing, and a plug, shamelessly. Search engine optimization marketing, SEO. That really has one main purpose, and that is to drive business to your website. Because ideally, if consumers are on your website, they're already in your pipeline. They found you. We want to help people who need your service and that are looking for your service. We want them to find you, and to find you right away, because a lot of times you can put yourself out there, and if someone tries to search for you, you may be on the 10th page, and that's you might as well not even exist. So by utilizing search engine optimization, you can try to make yourself in the World Wide Web come up more frequently because of algorithms that are used in pulling through organizations based on the words that you use on your website, based on you being listed and listed very frequently. Any type of directory that's available, if it's free and it's credible, get listed. Yelp, it's free, it's credible, list your business on Yelp. And then take it a step further and have your happy, satisfied customers give you reviews, because then that helps you come up more quickly to search results. Same thing with Google, Thumbtack. You've heard of Angie's List, I'm sure, the Better Business Bureau. So you can also pay for advertising or to upgrade, your listings and so forth. But that's how you build traffic to your websites. Okay. Now, social media, that's what a lot of people are almost just identifying with marketing, just exchangeably, but it's just an element of marketing, and it's here to stay. It maybe not the different specific platforms, but in and of itself, it's here to stay. So if you were averse to marketing, I ask and implore you to reconsider and at least pick one. I would like for you to have 3, but at least one that you will commit to engaging with on a regular, a consistent basis, even if it's monthly, but consistent. So the way I have it grouped here is the first 3 are much more conversational in nature, and the Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn channels lend you to, or lend, or facilitates more of a verbal type of content. Now, all of the channels can pretty much do all the same things to some degree, but again, some platforms have are just more conducive for a certain type of medium. So again, for Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, you really want to think about having conversations and expressing your thoughts or sharing articles, things that you can read, whereas YouTube and TikTok are much more visual in nature in terms of video and audio. Now, WhatsApp and Messenger are really, really great apps for mobile marketing because it's a way to send short text messaging, if you will. And ironically enough, they both have the same parent company, which is Facebook. But WhatsApp has a demographic of users that are much more international. So although it's the largest in the world, it's outside of the U.S. Me living in Oakland, close to San Francisco, and just in the Bay Area in general, I found that a lot of colleagues and associates are on WhatsApp here, whereas when I was living in the Midwest and maybe more towns that are a little more homogenous, maybe, it was all about Facebook. In fact, Facebook is still the most widely used platform in the state. So depending on what your constituency is, you will decide which one of those apps would work best for you. And then you have Instagram and Pinterest, which are much more visual in nature. So if you like to collect information and communicate by pictures, then this may be for you. It will allow you to communicate with others that have similar hobbies and interests as you, and then build a community, again, outside of maybe just your core demographic for your business, but it gives you a platform to communicate with others. So those are the top ones, or the most popular ones for right now. And I have some quick do's and do nots for you regarding social media, starting with being yourself in a very authentic manner. Engage monthly on at least 1 or 2 platforms. Organically build connections before promoting is key. I've had clients that come to me and all they want is specifically for social media management, which is great. I love to do that. And they want me to promote their business on social media, which you can do organically, or you can pay for advertising on social media. But paying is one thing, but if you don't want to pay, you want to take advantage of free publicity, then you have to have followers. And that happens over time. You can purchase followers, but that's something different. That's another extended seminar there. But before you start promoting or just selling to your friends and loved ones, you want to make sure that you build the connections in an organic fashion. So do that by reacting to others' accomplishments. You want to like, love, or share things that you find that are useful. Just post your accomplishments too, positive ones, and interesting articles or useful information. So those are ways you can engage. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to air out all of your personal, issues or anything like that. In fact, one of my do nots I have here is to not over politicize your others or over criticize yourself. So finding the balance to be authentic, but not necessarily overly critical or overly political. Do not hide behind your company. So although you may have a Facebook business page or a LinkedIn business page, be authentic. Back to the first do, be authentically yourself. And then please do not, this is from me to you, do not sign up for platforms and accounts that you don't use. Okay. It's time for a review. Nathan, you can launch the next two. So poll question 2 and 3. We'll do them each one at a time.
Perfect. All right. So these are very similar, but we'll launch the first one. This is poll number 2. This is up. We'll leave this up for about a minute. Select the most applicable response. Give everybody about 30 more seconds or so. The question, what would your promotional mix include for integrating a traditional marketing strategy? Split pretty evenly between the votes. About 29% are saying advertising, 25% are saying direct marketing, and 26% saying personal selling. So I'm going to close that poll.
Let me talk about that while we launch the the third question, actually, right along with that. Good job, everyone, because although traditional marketing, you would, of course, all of them may apply as long as the advertising is not digital and related, then those are very good. But I like how you all also like the top ones when we talk about direct or personal selling, how that really is traditional, although in COVID times, in person, maybe not so much, but I see where you all were thinking with that. So for sure, good job. Okay. All right, let's see what the next poll question is, please.
Perfect. Poll number 3. This one is, what would your promotional mix include for integrating a brand marketing strategy? And once again, select the most applicable response. Leave that up for about a minute. All right, give everybody about 10 more seconds. I'm going to close and I'll share those results.
Okay.
All right, we will close. And for this one, it looks like 38% are saying advertising, 21% direct marketing, 16% personal selling, 18% public relations, and 7% sales promotion.
Okay. All right. I would have liked to have seen more or a higher percentage of public relations selected for brand marketing, because you're tying yourself to doing goodwill or implementing goodwill in the community, and you definitely want that associated with your brand. So I would have certainly made that one of my top. But yes, certainly add advertising. That's how you build your value in it, because it's just becoming much more well known. And when you build that awareness and it's consistent, then you're certainly on the road to brand identity. So creating value. Good. If there are any other questions at this point, please raise your hands, or I guess submit them through the chat. Any other questions about some of the answers or what we've covered so far? And I'm not sure if Clarice, if you have anything at this point.
Hey, Candice. Yes, we're no questions so far, but we do have time, and I'm sure we can do some Q&A at the end.
Okay.
So please feel free to put in your questions. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. So let's go ahead and move forward. Okay. So this second half of the webinar, I'd like to talk more specifically about frequently asked questions that I mentioned earlier, that my clients have asked me throughout the years. How do I, number one, develop pipeline customers? Top question. How do I increase revenue? How do I prepare for scaling up, or just how do I scale up? And then how do I manage brand image, right? And again, you can start thinking of your questions that I may add to my list of frequently asked questions or FAQs. So developing pipeline customers. First and foremost, back to social media. Stay connected. The internet is here to stay. Social media is here to stay. So even if you don't have a huge following, now you can tomorrow over time. So start with their low-hanging fruit. Stay connected. Be engaged. Make time for it. Okay. And then a close first. Really, they're 1 and 2 back and forth answers to this question about developing pipeline customers is to create a marketing plan. This bullseye with the target and the arrow, that's a universal sign for target marketing. And when you put together a plan, you are halfway there. So what does your marketing plan include? It has to be very specific. It has to have who you're targeting, and what type of promotional mix you plan on implementing. It has to have a time period. So please state a specific length of time and when you're going to roll that out. And then very importantly, there must be a budget. How much do you allocate, or how much do you plan to allocate to spend for that line item? Your marketing plan and your promotional calendar, your marketing mix, your budget, everything like that. It should be for at least a year, and it can be looked at monthly or quarterly, but you have to write a marketing plan in order to then implement it toward obtaining more customers in your pipeline, okay? The next FAQ is how to increase revenue. Similar to building a plan, create a pro forma. Halfway there. You put that in writing, you're halfway there. You can see very clearly your roadmap based on how many customers do you need, how much do they have to spend in order for you to make the revenue needed to cover your expenses and to make a profit so that you're a sustainable business. Your pro forma should be for at least 3 years. So it should be an annual projection of your revenues for at least 3 years, 3 to 5 is more desirable, but at least 3 years. Again, listing your expenses. It will list your expenses for operation, your expenses for marketing. It will list the number of customers that you need to bring in, or the amount of revenue that needs to be brought in each month, and the profit that you project or need to make in order to be sustainable. So create a pro forma. Now, according to a study by Bain & Company, retaining just 5% of customers can increase your profits by 25% or more. So the next answer to increasing revenue, again, not rocket science here. Retain the customers you have. It may be customers that are already in your pipeline. Maybe they haven't purchased yet, but retaining them with providing them with useful information, keeping them engaged. Also retaining your customers by excellent customer service, okay? Loyalty. The other way, the third answer to the FAQ about increasing revenue is to get new customers. Again, no brainer. How do you get new customers? You utilize your promotional mix to target new people, right? Based on demographics, geography, lifestyle, based on mediums that connect to people based on their lifestyle. Also based on your budget. Maybe you don't have a television commercial budget, but you have a advertisement on Google budget. So based on your marketing plan, implementing that to target new customers. Next, You can increase your revenue by getting new customers. You can also increase your revenue by raising your price, or let's say reevaluating your pricing structure. Okay. Making sure that the time that it's taking you to produce a certain service, that your return on that is helping you to meet your projected goals, your projected financial goals. How do I scale up my business? I'll start with a quote from Marcel Tellis that says, "A company can seize extraordinary opportunities only if it is very good at ordinary operations." To me, I have to share this story. It was early on when I had a marketing mentor that I confided in, and I said, you know, I'm capitalizing, I'm growing my market share, and I'm not doing anything special. I don't know why I'm having all these new clients all of a sudden, where this particular service, it was a hotel where I was, they were underperforming as a hotel. And my direct report at the time, she gave me an idea, or not an idea, but a statement that was so profound. And she said, the reason why, and it's so true, that we were able to gain, or that I was able to gain new clients, is by answering the phone. Just answer the phone. Just very, very ordinary. Make sure that your voicemail is right. You're returning phone calls within 2 hours, emails within 24 hours, really within 2 hours as well. But very, very specific day-to-day operations is what will make you extraordinary, or able to exceed extraordinary or obtain extraordinary opportunities. The second element for scaling up your business outside of performing daily operations extraordinarily is to develop an org chart. Who's handling your marketing? Who's handling your administrative tasks? Who's handling your operations? And that's just an example. But Candice, there's only one person in my firm. That's fine. Map it out. Maybe you're the one on Mondays. It's you. You're handling marketing on Monday mornings. On Wednesdays, you're the customer service manager. You're making sure that all the invoicing, I don't know, has been processed and paid. And then on Friday, anything administrative that's left over, any loose ends haven't been tied, or maybe that's when you upsell, or you have it designated specifically, whatever that function is to running your business, what's vital to you, your community, your marketing plan, you have it orged out. Also, that's very important because, as we'll segue into later, if you end up needing capital, lenders require a business plan of some sort, which require or encompass an org chart. So that's something that you will need down the road. And again, as you saw with me and my company that I co-founded with my aunt, that's exactly what happened. We started to scale up, and we needed that accounting manager on board. We had H.E.R, who was my aunt. We had me in marketing, but you have to have payroll, and you have accounts receivable. So as we grew, we knew we were not going to be able to handle that by ourselves. So there was already an org chart in place, even though it hadn't really materialized or come to fruition yet. For scaling up your business, you have to plan for capital, for needed capital, because as you receive more clients, you will have more staff. So your payroll is larger, and a lot of times with services, you bill and then there's a gap time before and I'm speaking to accounting people, so excuse me, I'm not trying to tell you what you already know. There may be a gap, and so there's a cash flow, especially as you grow, and you have to plan for that. You plan for that just as you do for your own private lives. When you set aside a savings, you're saving for vacation, or you're saving for a rainy day, whatever that is, plan for your business to grow. Because even if you take out a line of credit from a lender, you may have to have some type of cash flow already available for them to approve you and to grant you the extra capital that you need. Okay. Are there any questions before I move on? about scaling?
Yes, we have a couple questions. The first question is, how effective is Instagram for marketing accounting services?
That remains to be seen, because Instagram is pictures. And I actually had one of my clients who owned his own financial services firm. It was a tax preparation and accounting services firm. It was a family-owned firm. It was second generation, started by his father, and then he inherited it and also became an accountant and CPA and took over the firm, was competing with all these franchises. So again, a lot of what I've already talked about, I've seen clients experience just that, and he wanted to do just that, get in on Instagram, because at the time, I want to say a couple of years ago, it was probably much more popular than it is now. It was gaining momentum, and so it is difficult because it's a service. So how do you put that into pictures? And so one of the things about Instagram is there are tools out there like canva.com. That's like it's a free tool. You just go to that website and then you can type in words and it'll create it into a picture format with a specific size that you can post on your Instagram. So it may say something like, if you have followers, maybe it'll say something like, you may type out tax filing deadline is in 30 days. Contact Candice Accounting Services Firm, and I'll type that out and then make that formatted into a picture and then send that. Or maybe, again, here's a picture here. I may take this and turn that into, do you have enough money for retirement? Put a caption on it, and then contact me to make sure you're safe and you're ready, or something like that. So I am creating content. I'm creating a message. I'm creating some useful information, and then I'm posting that on the Instagram site. And so it's a visual, because maybe my target audience, which back to my client, although he inherited a business, his father's clientele was a much older clientele that was then diminishing, and so his new clientele was much more younger, and they were Instagram users. So it made sense to play or to be present in a space where his potential customers or pipeline customers were engaged in. And so that's just one example. And I hope I answered that question. But in terms of measurement, you can, or to answer your question, how effective can you market your service on Instagram? It can be effective, but it does take a little bit of planning and strategy to collect your pictures, to map out, again, the course of a year, what you want to say. Oh, it's retirement time, it's investment time, or other products that you offer, and really come up with a social media marketing plan. So back to marketing strategy. Okay. Clarice, were there any other questions?
We have one more question. The question is, for someone who might be relocating back to a prior location and thinking of starting their own CPA firm, any suggestions for getting reconnected in the local area?
Reconnected in a local area. Absolutely. You want to start with your close and loose ties. And by that, anyone who you've met in the past, even if it was just in a one-time meeting, is much more likely to remember you and potentially be a customer than someone that you don't know at all. So where did you go to high school? Did you go to high school there, or college? Were you part of the PTA? Were you part of, what were your hobbies? Like, my hobby is ballroom dancing. So any community, when I go back, I'm looking for ballroom dancers and reconnect them. And although I don't know maybe the people in that town or whatnot, but we have a shared interest. So that's a loose tie, or maybe we've seen each other around. So starting with people that you know or have shared commonalities with, rejoining organizations. Again, I mentioned NABA You don't necessarily have to be the president of that association, but join and come to the networking function. So again, networking. How else can you reconnect other than networking? Social media, connect with people, make sure that your profiles are up to date on LinkedIn, on social media, Facebook, whichever three that you choose, make sure they're up to date, and exchange information with people. Follow people that you know. Become a follower and be interested in what other people are doing so that you can have something valuable to say, or you can find a connection. Because again, another experience that I've learned in marketing throughout the years is that every single person on this planet I have something in common with, no matter what their age or ethnicity is, or background, I mean, religion, it doesn't matter. If it's a human being, there is something that I have in common with that person. And my job as a marketer is to find out what that is. And it's not necessarily going to happen overnight, because it takes trust and, time, really, and just breaking down barriers sometimes. Sometimes it's easy and it's organic, but other times it's much, much more deliberate, and you taking an interest in people. So enjoy that. That should be fun. Are there any others before we move on?
That's all we have right now.
Yeah. All right. So the last question that is on my FAQ is how to manage my brand, and that's why I have this lovely shot right here that I picked, because I want to make sure that if you leave here today, if you do not have one already, that you invest in a professional headshot. It doesn't have to be as conservative as this one. It could be more of a relaxed approach, a different background. It's outside. This gentleman isn't wearing a tie, but if he's providing tax or financial services, he just seems like a likable person, and so does she. Like, I want to be her friend. I want her to do my taxes because she seems very approachable, down to earth. To me, like, she'll explain. I can ask her some complicated questions and not feel embarrassed by that. I feel like she'll walk me through the process. I don't know. It's all because the lighting is great and because it's not a selfie. So please invest in yourself and take a professional headshot so that you can have a professional branded image, because these will go on your social media. If you do an article or a press release, it's more likely to be published if you have a photograph. And even if you have to crop out, just the shoulder, the head, and literally just here, that's fine. But you want to have some photography on hand to use. Okay, so I have one more poll question.
Perfect. All
Nathan?
right. Yeah, so this one is, what is your email domain? That is up, and you can select all that apply. We'll leave that up for about a minute.
Okay. All right, Nathan, so what do we have so far? Or are you still waiting for answers to come in?
Yeah, answers still coming in. Give everybody about 5 more seconds.
All right.
And then I'm going to close and share.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to close and share. And no surprise, we've got 56% saying Gmail, 2% live.com, 2% Comcast, 24% own a unique domain, and 23% saying none of the above.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm glad to hear that so many of you own your own domain, because that is certainly a key to developing your brand image. Your domain is, and for those of us, because I also have Gmail, it's great. I'm not a Gmail representative, but I just don't want you to feel like I'm criticizing those of you who have Gmail, but there's a certain level of professionalism. It's heightened when you have your own domain. So instead of Candice Taxes at gmail.com, for it to be CandiceTaxes.com, I mean, it just presents a much more professional image, and it also alludes to credibility. So as you try to improve your brand image, consider investing in your own domain. And these are just 3 examples of companies that act as clearinghouses to help you register your own unique domain and website if you want, you know, with your matching email address and everything like that. Okay. Now, as a recap.
And Candice, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in. The screen seems to be a little frozen, so what I'm going to do is I'm just trying to reset it.
Okay.
And you'll see a little pop-up and make you presenter, and then you can just reshare your screen.
Okay.
It should clear up. Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. So did everyone see this? Was this clear about just the suggested, or not suggested, but just examples of companies that you can use to search for your own domain, make sure your name is available, and then register through the clearinghouse so that you can upgrade your brand image. Okay. All right, and now to do a recap, I just kind of put together the review in 10 points for you. Hopefully it's easy to remember, but you can always ask questions later or contact me later on Takeda LLC. So for the FAQ about developing pipeline customers, you want to stay relevant on social media, stay connected. If you don't have a following now, it's never too late to get started, but you want to start now so you can start organically. Okay, pick 1 or 2, be committed, post something monthly, share. 2, create a marketing plan and with targets. Okay. The FAQ regarding increasing revenue. The 3rd point is to create a pro forma to establish monthly profit goals. Right. And then number 4, retain existing customers. It's all about loyalty. It's much more expensive to try to go and get new customers than to retain the ones that you already have, even if you provide your existing customers with new services or referral incentives. Number 5, increase revenue by targeting new customers using the promotional mix that you just learned about, whether you already knew about. Use it, plan for it, use it. Number 6, reevaluate your pricing strategy. Make sure you're not undercharging in the market. Be competitive, but don't undercharge. Sometimes you can charge above market value because you've added value or you've invested into your brand. FAQ regarding preparing for scaling up. Devise an org chart and then deliver extraordinary operations. You have to get your foundation in place today. Is your voicemail working? Are you answering your phone? Are you returning your calls? Are you invoicing and collecting payment at a reasonable manner, in an efficient manner? Number 8, prepare for financial capital needs. FAQ regarding managing your brand image. Invest in a quality headshot and register your web domain and email. All right, I have one more polling question. Nathan, if you could launch for me. The last one.
All right, we're launching that now. After this webinar, how has your confidence increased related to implementing marketing strategies? 1 would be a minimal impact and 5 would be a high impact on your confidence. Leave that up for about 30 more seconds.
Okay.
All right, we will close. Looks like the majority are in the 3, 4s, and 5s. Looks good. All right, back to you. Yeah, thanks so much.
That's great to hear. I want to thank each of you for being here with me today and allowing me to share my best demonstrated practices with you. And I encourage you and invite you to reach out to me at any time to assist you with your business. So thank you. And again, thank you, Nathan and CPA Academy. And thank you, Clarice and Jawan with the Lady CPA Network.
Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. Candice, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. I did just post your company website to our group. There's somebody asking about that, anzakita.com. Once again, yes, Candice, great session. I've been reposting all these great comments, lots of thank yous, and I really enjoyed this presentation. Fantastic webinar, so thank you so much. Of course, thank you as well to Clarice and the Lady CPA for bringing you here to present to us. To our audience, thank you so much for attending. We'll do our best to get your CP processed a little later today. You should see that in your account by tomorrow. We also recorded the session, so if you'd like to review, share with a colleague, we'll send you that archive link a little later today. Thanks so much, everyone. Hope to see you all at future webinars.